So a very traditional Welsh-speaking family, devoted to the church. How did you adjust to modern influences like pop music, cinemas?
Yeah, well, that had to happen, didn't it? By the time I was 15, 16, Radio Luxembourg. Oh, my mother and father, they didn't quite like I was listening to Radio Luxembourg. It was once a week there'd be a pop music on Radio Luxembourg, which I could just about get on our channel, reception with Radio Luxembourg. Then, of course, along came Cliff Richard, Presley, the rock and rollers from America, and all that. And the Teddy Boys. Oh, I had the gear, I tell you. Eventually I had the gear. But it was a conflict. A chapel-going boy for 15 years, now being confronted with how the new world was beginning to interface even with a village like Cymraethin and Forgastet and our area. It was an issue. My mother didn't overlike the fact that I would have donkey, duck, what would you call that? There was a kind of duck something where you would grow it up and it would meet in the middle and the back. Duck gas, I think, because it was called something of that kind. And I would have that same. Loxes, of course, thick loxes out there, silver coat, all jangling, dancing silver coat, tight jeans, black jeans. And there was a program that started on television, 6-5 Special. I could even sing you the song if you want. 6-5 Special coming down the line. 6-5 Special ride on time. Da, 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 da. That was the start of it. And it was a pop program. There's forerunner on top of the pops. 6-5 Special. Well, they produced and came out with the 6-5 Special shoes, which were like hush puppies, with white dots all around the front of them, and a clock in the middle, 6:05, on the shoe. And I got those. My gosh, my grandmother thought I was a devil. You know what I mean? This guy, what's gone wrong with us as a family, that we didn't grow up properly. But yes, but they were very good. To be fair, they were quite relaxed about it eventually. But I knew the limits. I knew there was no drinking. There was no alcohol in the house. There was no drinking on a Saturday night. I'd go to the cinema, and I'd go to the dance in Croissant's Hall, and have fish and chips on the way back home. 5 shillings. You could do all that. Cinema, dance, fish and chips for 5 shillings on a Saturday night, and they would give me a little bit of money like that. And that was it. No girls really in that time. That started a bit later in Gwynoro. But yes, they were quite tolerant because they trusted me to keep the balance. That's all they were looking for, was the balance. If I had to be back by 10:30 on a Saturday night at home, no matter where I was, I'd have to be back by 10:30. And 10 o'clock Sunday morning was chapel. No ifs or buts, no like today lie-ins and all that kind. There was no choice about it. And I used to go 3 times on a Sunday, then to the prayer meeting in the week, Band of Hope for younger people. But 5 times a week you were in the chapel. Major influence on my life. And I've said it throughout the years. It's one of the things that is missing with society today. Even if you don't believe, it is the best growing up experience a child can have. It gives them a base, and even when they go off the rails in later life, that base never leaves them, ever. It's always, always there. And that's what's missing. The last 30, 40 years, the younger generation who now become parents themselves, they've got no experience of any of that, no understanding that there is a base to life. There's no base. And that is what the chapel gave you. That is what the village gave you. And that is how communities then survived. And I don't, also, and I'll finish with this, I don't go along with the story that is peddled so often about if people are down and out, if people are out of work, if people are in financial difficulties, they have all sorts of excuses. Look, oh, pity them, isn't it? You think of the people of the 30s and the 40s and the 50s who never had much. Never had much. They had standards. They had discipline. They had respect. They had an understanding of what is right and wrong. Those people had nothing. You know, the people who are out of work and poor today, they got benefits, they got television, they got mobile phone, they got computers, they got everything, and they still moan, and they still complain. It doesn't wash, does it? The story doesn't add up.